All right, I'm here with Erica and Maggie, and we just get to hear about what God is doing through their lives. And so let's start with just what is CRU?
Yes, well, CRU is formerly called Campus Crusade for Christ, and we are a worldwide organization. And in the United States, we have many different ministries, but one of those is on the college campus. That's where CRU began. And so Maggie and I both work with campus. And our mission statement is to turn lost students into Christ-centered lifetime laborers.
Yeah, and specifically, Erica and I are at the University of Toledo, and we talk there a lot about wanting to be a caring community that is passionate about connecting other people to Jesus Christ.
Awesome. Yes, that's something we value much here at Westgate Chapel. Same idea of being the church. And just speaking of Westgate Chapel, you guys both attend Westgate and are connected and part of our Westgate fam. And just as people are getting to know you, can you guys share, Erica, let's have you go first. Just what has it been like for your family to be involved with Campus Crusade, now CRU? What is it like? How long have you been living in Toledo? And then also, what are your current roles on campus this year?
Yeah. So Mark and I have been with CRU for 20 years now, and we spent 9 of those years overseas in East Asia. And in 2013, we moved back to the United States, and in 2014, we moved up here to Toledo. So we have been in Toledo since then, and for the last 6 years. And so currently, my role is to be on the team at the University of Toledo and to help give leadership and direction to that team. There's 3 of us that help to lead the team. And Mark's role is to help to give some guidance, some direction, some coaching to all of the campus leaders in Northwest Ohio and the whole state of Michigan. So that's his role.
Awesome. Yes. You guys are been busy with all sorts of different things over the years, and we keep transitioning. And Maggie, you have a similar story of what your roles look like. And so can you share about the George family and also how long you've been at Toledo serving, as well as what you guys are up to this year?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, my husband, Sean, and I have lived in Toledo for quite some time, since 2002 for me and 2003 for him, when we were both students attending the University of Toledo. And getting involved in CRU at UT is actually how we both came to know the Lord and started our walks with Christ. So this is a place and a ministry that is really close to our hearts. I joined staff with CRU about 12 years ago, and meanwhile, Sean started a career in software development. And about 4 years ago, we felt like God was calling us to some kind of a change as a family. And so Sean actually joined staff with me with CRU. And one thing that's really fun is that he still gets to use his skills that he's spent years investing in technology and software and things like that, getting to work behind the scenes, enabling our CRU staff to have operational, fully functioning technology, which there's probably never been a time where it's quite so important as today. And for me, I'm connected with our team that is, like I said, on campus at UT. One of the roles that I get to step into is just being a person that is there to care for our team. And specifically, I get to train one of our interns, Lydia, as she walks through a 2-year curriculum that is provided to her by CRU that helps develop her, just her personal spiritual life, her leadership, and equips her with practical aspects of her ministry.
Cool. I love, that each of you guys are all working for the same organization, but using your gifts and talents in different ways. And I just love hearing all the different roles you guys are involved in, and we get to cheer you on and learn from you and watch you guys go. And so as we are catching up to what you guys have been this past semester, we'd love to kind of hear what campus has looked like this last year. And Erica, if you will start us off with just maybe what's transitioned, what's changed, as well as maybe a way that you've seen God work despite the pivots.
Yes, for sure. So typically, CRU at the University of Toledo has both a combination of small group Bible studies and then large group meetings. We would have a large group meeting on Thursday nights that would have anywhere from 200 to 250 students, and we would do retreats and conferences throughout the year. And so with the global pandemic and everything needing to be smaller this year and social distancing, that has changed quite a bit. So the university kind of put some regulations on student organizations and said that we could only have 10 people or less meeting together. So that did significantly impact our ministry. A lot of the classes are online instead of in person. And so that reduces the number of students that are even on campus. And so it has been a struggle for us, for sure, to figure out how do we still meet the spiritual needs of students on the college campus, but yet be wise and be sensitive to, people's differing levels of comfortability. But pretty much through the whole year, students were meeting in small groups. And so we had groups of 10 or less that would study the Bible together and pray for one another and help each other out in their spiritual journeys. And so we've seen God use it for sure. And even freshmen who came to CRU thinking, or freshmen who came to UT thinking, I do want to get involved in CRU. They have been able to get involved. Now, granted, that looks different than your typical freshman, but we had some freshmen in our home. We wanted to give them a chance to get to know some of the staff because we don't have opportunities to see them throughout the year like we normally would. And so 2 freshman girls came over to my home, Mary and Lene, and Mary grew up in a Christian home and even had an older brother who was involved in CRU like several years back. And so it was a delight to get to know her, and she's just looking for avenues to grow in her faith and wants CRU to be one of those ways. And then God connected her to another gal named Lene, and she Lene is new to Christianity. She doesn't know, she's never really read the Bible before, but she's very interested. And she and Mary are spending lots of time together talking about spiritual things. And they were coming to all the small groups and all of the smaller things that we were offering throughout the semester. And so even one of my former disciples too was meeting with Lene to talk through Christianity and what that means. And she told me, I don't think she's made a decision for Christ yet, but keep praying for her because she's definitely hungry. So it's neat to see that even during this global pandemic, that there are new students that are getting involved in CRU and that God is reaching with his word. So we're really thankful.
Yeah, that's a great picture of how things we're not doing what we normally do, and some of the ways that CRU has seen great fruit aren't able to be done, and yet still there still is fruit, and God is still at work. And so thanks for sharing about what God has been up to down at campus this past semester. And Maggie, can you share from your perspective, as you said, you've been working a lot with the staff and training and development, just maybe what you've seen God do through your role, through the perspective you get to interact, and then also just maybe personally as you've been walking through this season, how you've seen God be faithful, even though it's a little different than what we were expecting.
Yeah. Well, like I mentioned, I am walking through a training curriculum with our intern, Lydia. And part of that is just helping her think through her personal ministry. She is connecting with many of our students who we really desire to equip our students to reach other students. So it's really a peer-to-peer relationship in ministry that we get to kind of give away to them. We want to coach them and train them as leaders and equip them to share their faith with others and to disciple others. And so Lydia is working in a few different parts of campus, but one of those being with our off-campus commuter students, which there's just many of at the University of Toledo. Mm-hmm. And over the last couple of years with Lydia's involvement and her coaching, we have seen our off-campus Bible studies and ministry grow really significantly. She just shared with me the other day, and I don't know the details of this story, but there is a young man who started out coming to the off-campus Bible studies earlier this semester, not really sure what he thought about God, really probably would put himself more in an agnostic atheist camp, and then within just the last few weeks shared when he came that he had chosen to surrender his life to the Lord. And so that was really encouraging. And one of the kind of interesting, I guess, challenges that Lydia is experiencing is because of our gathering restrictions. It's kind of like this big working puzzle of how do we have these small, safe groups that still can experience fellowship with one another and have room to grow. We can have groups that are tapped out as far as space, but really the students that are giving leadership to this area of ministry, their hearts are really that there would be space for when others are looking for a community to connect with, and that we don't have to turn people away because we've hit a gathering restriction. Lydia has also been working with a handful of students that have hearts for welcoming and knowing international students as they come to Toledo to study and learn about American culture. And so they've really been doing a deep dive this year in just understanding different backgrounds, the nations, cultural experiences, food, everything, just really wanting to be a resource for these international students as they're spending their semester at the University of Toledo. And so I love getting to coach Lydia in her ministry. And it has been this year, because of just how different everything is, it's been a really good challenge for me to help her think through what are just creative things that we can do, what is something different, that we can trust God to step into and still see people reached, even though ministry just doesn't look like what it has in previous years. So
Awesome. That leads us into exactly the next question, which is we Westgate are grateful for the ministry that you're doing and want to care for you and your families and you and your ministry, as well as you go and make disciples who make disciples who make disciples of all nations. And so I would just love if you let us know, how can we be praying for you, as you sounds like there are some challenges and this next semester will provide exactly that. How would you love for us to be praying for you and your families and your ministries going forward?
Yeah, the first thing that comes to mind for me is just asking you to pray for our students, especially right now. They are all home for Christmas break, winter break. They left before Thanksgiving. And so I think we've all probably felt some of the loneliness that this year has brought. And for some of our students, really their best and healthiest community, even though it was small, were their friends in CRU or their friends at UT. And so as they are, at home and going to be for quite some time still, I would just ask that you guys would remember them in your prayers, that they would be able to connect with the body of believers, or even through distance, be able to, just continue to press into the relationships that God has given them and that are encouraging to them, and point them to Him.
Erica, is there anything else you want
And
to
then,
be praying for?
also for our students, when they do come back to campus, a lot of them are quite lonely this year, like Maggie mentioned, and they are wanting community, but they don't know where to find it. And so I think pray that both our students involved in CRU would have some creative ideas for how to meet these students this year, but also that, when they do hear about those opportunities, that they'd be willing to take that step of faith and say, why not try this out and try to meet some new people? Because when you can meet Christians on campus, it's just like Lene was sharing with me, she just felt so welcomed and so loved by everyone that she has met so far. And so we want that for more students. So pray that we would find creative ways to meet more students.
How else can we be praying for you guys in your ministry as we head into the spring semester?
Well, one of the ways that we love to challenge students is to ask them to go on mission, that we want to not only win students to faith in Christ, but build them up in their faith and send them to reach the world. And so one of the primary ways we do that is through our summer missions, and they all had to be canceled last summer. And so this summer, we are really hoping that they would be able to move forward. And so Mark gives leadership to the Virginia Beach summer mission. So I would love you guys to pray that the Virginia Beach summer mission could happen and that we could bring a big group of UT students with us to be on mission to grow in their faith over the summer, and that we would find safe and healthy ways in order to make that happen during this pandemic.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing those ways. And we will continue to pray for, yes, the young people, our college students, and as well as your guys' families, as you guys are people experiencing the same things yourselves as we adjust and seek God's wisdom and creative ways to do this discipleship thing.